Hello friends, today's case is The Boy in the Box. This is an unsolved murder case that happened back in Philadelphia in 1957, and it has some pretty messed up details. So if you like true crime, make sure to stay till the end, because this one still has me shook. This was the first video that I ever made, and for those of you who are new here, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. If you do enjoy what you see, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every time I post new videos. Now let's get into the video. In February of 1957, a few people reported seeing a small red and white box on the 6300 block of North 12th Street in Philadelphia. The box was roughly the size of a shoebox, maybe 18 by 15 inches, and they even described hearing noises coming from inside the box, specifically a child crying. Some people assumed that the box was some sort of donation box or something and didn't think much of it. But after the crying continued late into the evening, one resident finally called the police. When they arrived at the scene, the officers did find a small wooden box wrapped in blankets with a handle on top. They brought it to the nearest fire station so they could use a saw to open it up. And when they did, they found a 4-year-old African-American boy who was still breathing but had no clothes on. The officers immediately took the boy out of the box and rushed him to the hospital where he later died. At the hospital, doctors discovered that the boy had been dead for several hours by the time they got him there. His body had also been severely beaten, and he had a fractured skull. They estimated that he had been between 4 and 7 years old, but other than that, they didn't have any other information about him. After this, the police released a statement saying that they believed the boy's mother was responsible for his death, and that she had dropped him off at the house on 12th Street and then fled the scene. They were unable to find her or anyone who knew who this little boy was, which was strange because the neighborhood wasn't all that big and most people knew each other. Plus, the police thought that someone would have noticed a woman matching the description of the supposed mother walking around with a small child just a couple of days prior to the discovery of the boy in the box. They didn't catch her. It's important to mention that back in 1950s Philadelphia, there was a lot of racial tension between blacks and whites. So many people were afraid to come forward if they saw anything that might put them in the middle of that. After 3 weeks, the police still didn't have any leads in the case. So they began running ads in local newspapers, offering a reward for any information that could help them identify the boy or his mother. Because of these efforts, a woman came forward claiming that she used to babysit the boy. She said that she hadn't seen him in a while, but that she recognized him when she saw his picture in the newspaper. She gave his name as Joseph, but she didn't know his last name or who his parents were, and I guess the police never followed up with her because we don't know what happened next. So now we fast forward to about a month after the boy was found dead, when a woman named Helen Viola came forward. Helen worked as a waitress at a local diner and told the police that she had seen the boy in the box on February, 2 days before he was found. She said that she was closing up for the night, and she saw a man carrying a box similar to the one that the boy was found in drop it off on the porch of the house. She then went inside and locked up, and when she came back out the next morning, the box was still there. Helen said that the man who dropped off the box looked like a truck driver, but she couldn't remember many details about him. The police seemed to really believe Helen's story, because they ended up releasing a composite sketch of the man that she had described. Unfortunately, they didn't catch him either. Another interesting thing to note here is that throughout the investigation, the police never did find any evidence to suggest that the mother had killed the boy, so they kind of abandoned that theory after a while. But they never identified or caught the person who actually did kill him. For a while, people in the area blamed a black couple who lived nearby, but they were ultimately ruled out as suspects. Then in 2002, a private investigator named Charles Carver reopened the case. He interviewed more than 100 people who lived in the area and eventually developed a list of possible suspects, but the police still haven't made any arrests. The case went cold again until 2019 when the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office announced that they were offering a $20,000 reward for information in the case. It's safe to say that this is definitely not enough for such an old case, but thankfully, thanks to the passage of time, more people have come forward with information. Unfortunately, none of it has led to an arrest. In 2021, a local historian and author named Paul M. Kenga published a book called Finding Joseph. In it, he theorizes that the boy may have been an unwed father named William who was killed by his own family in order to cover up the fact that he got his girlfriend pregnant. There's no evidence to support this theory though. and neither the police nor any other investigators have commented on it. But in November of 2021, a man named Joseph Holland came forward, claiming that he was the brother of the boy in the box. He said that his mother had told him stories about their brother William being killed when he was young. He also said that their mom had admitted to being pregnant with another child when William was killed, which would mean that the baby in the box wasn't actually a baby at all, but rather a toddler who had already been born. If this is true, then it would explain why William's family wanted him dead. Back in 1950s America, having a baby out of wedlock was a very shameful thing, and it's entirely possible that his family was trying to cover it up. However, genetic genealogy testing proved that Joseph wasn't related to the boy, so his story didn't pan out. But shortly after this, another man came forward claiming to be William's half-brother. His name is Carl Nelson, and he said that their mother had adopted William after he was born. He also said that William wasn't the only child that their mother had given up. She had 2 other sons and 1 daughter that she had given up for adoption as well. Carl's story does seem to check out because his mother did have at least 4 children, although none of them were hers biologically. However, DNA testing proved that he wasn't related to the boy in the box either. So at this point, we still don't know who he is, and to be honest, I find that part of the story to be pretty upsetting. The police currently have a DNA profile of the boy, but unfortunately they haven't been able to match it to anyone, and since his half-brothers came forward, they haven't really been talking about the case. There are a lot of theories out there. One of them is that the boy was named Julius, and that his parents were murdered by a serial killer named Billy Cook. That theory doesn't really add up though, because Billy Cook wouldn't become a suspect in any murders until 1962. 5 years after this kid was found dead. Another theory is that the boy was actually a girl who was abused by her father and then killed by her mother. But honestly, this is just a stretch, because her body was examined by doctors at the time and they confirmed that she was a boy. I think the most likely scenario is that William was indeed killed by his own family because of his mother's pregnancy. But without any new leads, it's unlikely that we'll ever know for sure. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about this case, I'll have a link to the book I mentioned earlier in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and please come back soon. I post new videos every week. Thank you for your support and goodbye.